Hello, my name is Dionne Hunter, and I am the curator of A Night of Artistic Renewal. It's a showcase taking place on April the 28th at the Blumenthal Performing Art Center's Booth Playhouse. I am blessed to be with two of the outstanding artists that will be on stage on the 28th. Um, Both of these guys, we have two Renaissance men with us this evening. The first one, he is a recipient of the Arts and Science Council Creative Renewal Fellowship Award. He's released a multifaceted project called the Paperback Hero Saga. He is a lyricist, a poet, actor, comic book author, and hip hop artist. He is a proud Charlotte native. Now, that's a unicorn in itself. I think I've owned like three people from Charlotte in the past 7 years. He is a master storyteller who weaves together stories of hope and inspiration while talking about tough issues as well. Let's welcome Mason Parker. Yay!
Hello.
And, hey Mason, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm a I'm gonna touch on something a little later. You're gonna get it. You're gonna laugh. You're gonna chuckle.
Okay. Now, this next gentleman, he has been dancing since 2012. He's been competing since 2015. He's danced in music videos. He is a certified dance instructor through Purple Charlotte Steppers Club. And now he opened his own business. It's called Dancing with Champagne. And that's actually where I met him. He's an urban ballroom instructor, and I'm just so happy to have you here with me, Robert Wilson.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. So let's start with you, Mason, since you said that you had a little story for us. But first off, there's so much about you're multi-talented, number one. You hit so many different realms. When I was, this is the fourth edition of A Night of Artistic Renewal. And we've had all types of artists. But this time I was looking for my idea in my head was a bluesy rapper.
Yeah, I remember first hearing that term from you. I thought that was.
I didn't know how to put, in the words what I actually wanted.
Right.
But that's as close as I could come. And
Yeah.
I kept getting your name over and over again as the person I wanted to talk to. So
Right.
tell me a little bit about your style and what you bring to the table.
So funny enough, though I have been in Charlotte the majority of my life at this point, I am not a native Charlottean. My wife is. So she is definitely one of those three unicorns that you mentioned. But I was actually born in Connecticut, raised in Jersey, and that is where the bluesy rap began. I actually became MC because of my mom, Michael Jackson, and Tupac. I guess you could say.
Okay.
That was the inspiration of all three people, and I became I grabbed a hold of my artistic identity probably in those formative years in Jersey. That's why I rap the way that I do.
Mhm.
But when I came down here, being here sharpened what was already in development when I was, up there. So, like, my interests and everything were formed before I got here. But once I got here, I learned how to master my craft. So the South is heavily influenced, or it influences, what I do and how I do it for sure. So
Nice, nice. So you began writing or performing as a youth, or
mhm.
just dabbling? How did that go?
Well, I started when I was well, I mean, if you want to be technical, I started performing when I was like 4, 5, something like that. And I've been writing since I was 9, and I've been performing the things that I write since I was about 12. Um, and when I was maybe 14, 15, they started sneaking me into the poetry spots here in Charlotte, which is why you started hearing my name so much when you started asking about bluesy rap, because I became known as the young gunner, the young hip hop guy that would come into all these spoken word spots with all this bravado on his shoulders, and hang with the big guys, so to speak. So I kind of made a name for myself for being so young, but being in spaces that I wouldn't necessarily I wasn't supposed to be in necessarily. So literally they were like, my mom would bring me, 'cause I went to a private Christian school. So like my mom would like pull up to like Liquid Lounge or whatever. And I get out, they bring me in, I spit my piece, and she'd be outside waiting, or she'd be like in the back of the club waiting for me to be done, and then I'd be done, and they cart my behind back, and I go to school the next day. But those experiences for sure like made me who I am for sure. And I was doing this at a time when, especially in Charlotte, like hip hop wasn't really like accepted in Charlotte like that. It, so there wasn't a lot of places to perform as a rapper. And if I wanted to be heard, I kind of had to like do the spoken word so that I would have a place to be. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I never stopped rapping, but I didn't really get to reintroduce my audience to that until college, really. Um, and even then, Charlotte wasn't as receptive to hip hop. It was more R&B, gospel, and they dabbled in spoken word and hip hop, but even the spoken word had to be like real PC and stuff like that. So,
Okay, okay. Now, speaking on beginnings, Robert, you
Yes.
began dancing in 2012.
Yes.
So, were you into dancing as a youth, or how did you get into the dance world?
Well, I really had no idea about it. I had seen it before in what's that club? The Excelsior, long time, years before that. But a couple instructors came to Shelby, where I was living at the time, and started classes. My cousin went to the class, and she called me right after, said, I just went to a class. I can see you doing this. And I had never thought about it. You know what I'm saying? I was obviously she know me better than me. So when I went, there was two instructors. His name was Kyle Woods and Celeste Jacobs, and they was so smooth. I fell in love with it. I mean, they are the ones that made me like, oh man, I've got to do this. And yeah, that's what. And pretty much, Shelby is a smaller town, and wasn't too many people into it, so they stopped having classes there. So I had to go to Charlotte with the tempos that used to be on Wilson Boulevard. They
wow.
had classes there on Sunday nights, and I started going there, and that's how I started getting hooked up with people in the community. And the rest is history. You know, it bit me like a bug, and I got addicted to it.
So, how long did it take you to go from dancing to actually competing? Because you traveled around and compete, correct?
Yes. Well, the first little competition I did was within our class that we had on Friday nights, and they called it Dance with Stars, and where a more advanced person would get a novice to dance with. So we didn't. It wasn't a lot of people entering, so they asked me to dance with this girl. Both of us was beginners,
Mm.
and we did pretty good. And when I did it, it felt pretty good. We didn't win, but once I got into it more, I started expressing myself more, because that way I can be more creative. You know what I'm saying? So, and the first actual real competition I got in was Titans of the Dance Floor in 2015. And we placed third. And I'm a competitive person, so it did not sit well with me going third. So I was like, nope, I'm not selling for that. So, and I've kept at it, and I've had some decently good success with it. I mean, I'm proud of what I've done. Definitely not the best dancer in Charlotte by no means. I'm just the one that don't mind competing. So it's a lot of great dance out there. Just because I won the competition don't mean I'm the best. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely don't want to put that out there like that. So I am humble with it. Okay.
Well, no, I understand what you're saying, and I think Mason would too. But I mean, that is something in itself, because people are afraid to put themselves out there.
Yes.
And it takes a special kind of person to get up in front of a crowd and say, look at me, and basically judge me. And that's what happens as a rapper, lyricist, poet, or as a dancer, you're putting yourself out there into the public eye. So I think you deserve, accolades for doing that in itself, let alone actually competing. Yeah.
And I think the one thing that, as the type of artist that we are, it ain't even so much winning a competition. It's like once you produce the product that you're proud of, it's already a win even before you start. You know what I'm saying? Because you can look at it yourself and be like, yes, this is exactly what I want to do. So it's a win. People can judge it, but you shouldn't let them judge you take away from the way you feel about it.
Exactly. Because everybody's on different mental levels, and they're going to take what they're going to take away from the piece.
Yes.
Now, speaking on that, Mason, you won the ASC Creative Renewal Award or grant. So how did you go about that, and what did you do with it once you received it?
I spent it all.
I think did you go out of the country?
No, I didn't go out of the country. I took my team to LA for a little bit so we could get some work done. Everything was related to the comic book, actually. So the Creative Renewal Grant is given to artists who have kind of been doing their thing for a long time and need a little boost or rejuvenation, so to speak. And it's a $15,000 grant that I was given to basically learn how to properly write a comic book, and that's what I told them I wanted to do with it. I was maybe ankle knee deep in the process of the Paperback Hero Saga. The Paperback Hero Saga is a comic book, but what makes it unique is that the story is told over a soundtrack, a comic book, and a short film. And so this is the second iteration of this project. The first iteration was dropped in 2018, but I scrapped it because it just wasn't well made. Honestly, it just was half baked, and I wanted to do it correctly. It was a good idea, but it just wasn't executed properly. And so I scaled back and said, okay, I'm gonna really properly learn how to do what it is that I'm trying to do. So I took a year in that 15,000, and I basically put myself through a boot camp of sorts. So oddly enough, I spent it on travel. I spent it on just, creatives. We need time to do nothing, and we need the space to do nothing. So I spent it on, putting myself in a position to be able to clear my bandwidth and be inspired. But I also spent it on education, learning how to write for comics, and did a lot of workshops and stuff like that. The funny thing is, though, my mom was my English teacher, so I had I scored a perfect on my SAT verbal. So I'm good at that. But so the workshops, I didn't get a lot of stuff out of that. But I had this $20 book off of Amazon that was written by a professor from SCAD. And that was like my Bible when it came to writing this project. And I got more out of that $20 book using my $15,000 grant. I got a $20 book off of Amazon, and that did more for me than all the workshops and everything that I had enlisted in. And that just goes to show you sometimes you don't need all the decadence and everything. You just need to kind of get in the closet by yourself and really buckle down. But yeah, that book was really dope. It's literally called How to Write a Comic Book, and it really fleshed out a lot of the mistakes that I had made with the first iteration. And then of course, I used it on spending some time with my wife. We didn't have a honeymoon when we got married. Stuff like that. So all of those things contribute to you having the bandwidth to allow your creativity to flow, to get the signal clear, to have the vision clear, all that stuff. You need space and time to be able to do that. And that's what you provided.
Yes. Well, you have to have that support group, number one, around you to hold you up. Yeah. So now to piggyback off of that, Robert, so you went to, you were saying that you took classes from the Purple Steppers originally.
Purple Charlotte Steppers. Well, originally it was individuals. I kind of evolved into them, but mostly everybody I took classes from came from Purple. Everybody has got a link to it because Damon Carter brought the dance to Charlotte. And it was a really big class. And people just started branching off and start doing their own thing. So everybody I danced with at one point or taught me, has links to them. So eventually, after a few years, I ended up with them, and they had like a performing arts team that I danced on their team and did some things. The music video that I was in was with them. So, and let's see what else. I think probably, I forgot exactly what year I started. 2019 is when I started instructing, 18, 19, somewhere in there. And it's been very good, a great experience. And, I just want to bring it to a different area. So that's kind of why I stepped out on my own.
And so the urban ballroom dance, that's your specialty?
Yes.
Okay. And I met you during your urban ballroom dance the first day.
Yeah, actually that was my very first class when I started my Dancing with Champagne class. So I guess it was just fate that you came. I was like, when I think back, I'm like, how did she even know about it? Because we didn't know each other prior to this.
No.
So how did you come across it, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, well, I actually was Google searching dancing, and my boyfriend knew someone that knew someone, and they gave your name.
Cool.
Yeah, and then so when I looked it up, it looked interesting. Now, one thing about that, what I read was that you believe that dancing brings the communication couples together. What is that about?
It's okay. So it's this couple that's with Purple. I know they probably won't mind me telling the story, but it's a beautiful story. The guy, he's a barber in Gastonia. His name is John Monharment. And Damon was getting a haircut from him, from one of his friends who ended up dancing also. So John heard him talking about the dance class. So he went home that night, told his wife, we're going to dance class on Thursday. Now, grant you, John is a hardcore Marine. So it blew her mind. He's like, we going dancing? So, that's something that ended up bringing them together. That's I think, I'm not speaking too much to where that's kind of what their date night thing. When a couple can start dancing together, to me, it feels like it opened up more communication for them.
Mm-hmm. I can agree with that because, you have to, your mind has to be in the right spot. You have to listen to the other person's body. You're talking about hand movements. And
it's a follower and lead thing. So I always tell the ladies, You got to follow the man like it's supposed to be in life, but also tell the men you got to lead correctly for them to follow you correctly. So you just can't be leading any kind of way and expect for the woman to follow you. So,
Right.
That should be put on some t-shirts. I believe, me personally, I believe most women don't mind being led by the right man with the right intentions. In my personal opinion.
Now, it's what I've found that, now a lot of women are independent. They do everything themselves. So it's hard for them to submit. I mean, for some people, that's a bad word, submitting, and, and it's really not. But like I say, if you find the right person, but like far as dance, sometimes I say, you got to trust me. Let me lead you. I got you. But sometimes it's just hard. And I understand it because within the dance, it's two different roles being played. The lead has a totally different role than the follower, and both of them are hard, So
that's good there, Robert. Now, Mason, you talk about tough issues as well. I mean, because the submitting thing, that's a whole nother video. I remember. Now, I'm divorced, but during the when we were getting the vows together, I was like, hey, what about this submit thing? We're gonna have to take that out of there. That's another story for another day. Amazing. You talk about some tough issues, inspirational things as well, but you talk about, real life issues. Why do you think that's important?
Well, I make everyman music, and I think that's important because I think that's the music that travels the farthest. I mean, the art that travels the farthest in general, whether it be music or just think. We tend to gravitate towards things that we can see ourselves in, and as an actor, I understand that like pain is universal, but your universe is personal. So like we all have experienced anger, sadness, whatever, but the source of that emotion may differ from person to person. So if I'm playing a role where, um, for example, my best friend got murdered or something like that, that's never happened to me, but I've experienced loss. And so I approach music from the same, from the same angle. The person that's listening to my music may not be able to relate to the exact scenario or situation that caused me to write what I wrote or whatever. But part of my responsibility as an artist is taking my individual experience and meeting you where you're at, and taking the essence of what I came out of that experience with, and redirecting it through a song so that you kind of we're basically able to connect in that way, like so you're able to relate to me and I'm able to relate to you, even though we're coming from two totally different walks of life. And that's what art is supposed to do. It's supposed to you use it to connect to people.
Yes.
And the reason why I started doing what I do is because I saw that it was a good way, or that I was good at connecting with people through that art. You know what I mean? And so everything that I do carries that same energy, whether it be the comic book, whether it be, how I approach a role, if I'm acting, my spoken word, my music, like everything. And that's because art is supposed to connect. That's the simple answer.
Yeah. So your comic book, tell us a little bit about, what's the premise of it?
So I'm glad you asked. So the story is actually about the Alusana. The Alusana is an interdimensional guardianship. So just for a precursor, I guess, Yoruba or Yoruban culture
Mhm.
influenced almost everything about this project. So the names, the meanings, all that stuff come from Yoruba culture. And Alusana is a word that literally means the guard. And so the Alusana is an interdimensional guardianship that's basically responsible for making sure that the reality that we know stays the reality that we know. They make sure that people ain't just skipping from realm to realm all willy-nilly and doing whatever it is that they want to do. The story picks up with Mason Myers, who obviously is based a little bit on me. His father dies, and he goes back to his begrudgingly goes back to the bookstore called the Portal that's been in the family since the late 1930s. And after a very ambitious businessman named Aristotle Crane comes to uh, make another vie for the family's property, and he finds out that his family are the only Earth realm born, Earth realm born. Lord have mercy. Members of the Alusana. It becomes very clear to him that his responsibility to his family is way deeper than he thought it was, and so at that point, he has to figure out how he's going to balance his obligations to his family and to basically the balance of the universe with making his own mark and his own legacy and chasing his own dreams and stuff like that. So that's where the story picks up at.
Wow. Okay. Nice. That yeah, that you have quite an imagination, which
I do.
which is not surprising since, like I said, you're a lyricist, an actor, a poet. You gotta, those wheels have to be turning to be able to move through all of those realms. So wow.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Realms, I like that word you use.
Yeah, trying to be like you. Now, speaking on realms and how things are meant to be, Robert, we spoke about how, I happened to come to your class on the opening night, and I also saw a video of where you were dancing with a young lady. I believe it was
Luna Love. And yes, that's go ahead.
Yeah, and the video was so nice. It was a really nice video, and I was like, man, I want to be able to dance like that. Tell us about that experience.
Well, the thing about that is, she had been taking privates with me for only like 2.5 months when we did that video. And the great thing about the way people are put together, I've always wanted to do a really nice video like that for years now. And I had been dancing. I've been taking a West Coast swing class also, which is a totally different dance. But that I heard that song there. So as we was dancing one night, and I was playing the song as we was doing the ballroom to it. And I told her, I said, I would love to make a video of this song, a video using the song. And she said, why don't you do it? Because if anybody know her, they know she's a person that's going to get it done. If you say you want to do it, you better not tell her, because she's going to get it done. So that night she called a videographer. His name is Go Lightly. And we set up a thing for two weeks from then. We sat down and kind of wrote out a storyboard. We wanted everything to be ready when he gets there. So it was a great collaboration between me and her. I had my vision and stuff, but it couldn't have came together without her help. I'm telling you, she was a real blessing that came into my life. And actually that jumped off the classes, because when we did the video, I had no interest in starting classes. She said she had some people that want to learn.
Classes. Go ahead. You mean group classes?
Yeah, group classes. Yeah. I would do privates and stuff like that, but I had no intention on starting group classes. So she had a couple of people that wanted to learn. I was like, okay, cool, we'll do that. That's no problem. I'm thinking maybe 4 people or something like that. But as we was dancing, shooting the video, was in the street, and in the street you'll see outside of the shop is called Mika Sip and Shop, and she knew us. She knew her. I never met her, and she offered for us to come to her place to do the classes. So then we was like, okay, I guess we need to advertise it. So then, to my surprise, we had like 25 people to show up, and I was like, wow, it's always like whenever you throw a party or something, you wonder, are they really gonna come? You know what I'm saying? So it's been good. The numbers we got now, I got like probably 16 core people that's gonna be there every week. So that's a good size class. And I'm really enjoying it. We are having a ball because they think they're coming to dance, but we come to have fun. The dance is the side thing, but we're here to have fun and become family and stuff like that. So the whole video jumped off everything, and I love it.
Mhm.
It almost made me tear up when I saw them. Like, oh my God, finally something that I want to do that has came to life.
Yeah, it was
Man, I'm happy
and
for you.
yes,
Thank
yes.
you, thank you.
And it's about dancing with champagne. And that night, we had flutes of champagne at the end of class.
Yeah, we did a champagne toast at the end.
It was
That's
very
dope.
nice. It was very nice.
Got me wanting to sign up for the class. Shoot.
Girl, come on, bro. I need some guys. I need some guys.
My wife would love that. It's just we got to figure out the schedules and everything. But yeah, because she's a travel nurse. But yeah, I'm definitely interested in that.
We can work something out. I can bend around people's schedule. We can work it out. Just let me know.
Make it happen.
Now, speaking on that, now I feel like the communication and the family atmosphere at the dance studio is is at its core needed in the community.
Yes.
Two things about both of you guys that I've noticed is that you're all about family. Mason, I know you have kids, and when you post, you're always posting, little tidbits about the kids, and you seem like such a dedicated father. And then Robert here, grandfather.
Yes, I got 3 grandkids. Yeah, bro. I got 3 daughters, 3 grandkids, and my oldest granddaughter, she'll be 14 this year. So yes,
that's what's up,
and I got 2 grandsons.
You barely a little older than me.
I was about to say,
hey. I appreciate that, but you see this right here. So.
I do. I'm catching.
When I talk to Robert as we get ready for the show, he's on his way back from church, bringing his granddaughter from church and whatnot. So let's start with Mason. How important is family to what you do? How does family help you or motivate you with the messages that you put out?
Man, so funny thing is, before I wanted to be anything, I wanted to be a husband and a father.
Wow.
Like, I think before I wanted to be a husband and a father, if you got to ask me what I wanted to be, I would have told you a superhero, and I would have been dead serious. So that's how long I wanted to be, and that's because I grew up in a my parents were divorced. I'm an only child, well, by my mother anyway. So I wanted siblings for as long as I can remember, and I wanted to experience a two parent dynamic for as long as I can remember. So my mission growing up was, when I get older, I'm gonna create the dynamic that I wanted. So of course, like most only children, I had a small tribe of children to kind of fill in that gap. So it's very important because on the flip side of that, like the stereotypical rapper thing, especially when I was growing up, it's like we don't exactly exude responsibility. You know what I mean? Like, it's not really like, at least at that juncture in my hip hop journey, like nobody that I looked up to was out here toting their family around. So I had to the same way I had to kind of create the dynamic that I wanted to see in my life. I had to create the dynamic that I wanted to see with my music. Funny thing is, as I started to do that for myself, um, I started to see other artists embracing fatherhood and embracing the nuclear family. It's Toby and Giwe and a couple other people, Chance the Rapper. A lot of cats, are kind of like leaning into the black fatherhood thing and stuff like that. So I definitely feel very, very validated. But it took a lot of soul searching, honestly, to get there. Um, I was actually sitting on a plane on a layover when I was living in LA and going back and forth with the kids and everything, every month or so. And I was sitting on a plane and I was listening to this song from Logic called Legacy. And in the song, he's talking about it's a story of this dude who's literally doing exactly what I was doing at the time, going here, going there, traveling all around, trying to make it as an MC, talking about he's wanting to build his legacy for his family. And his lady turns to him and she shows him his kids. He's like, yo, legacy is right in front of you. You're missing it. And I started to cry while I was on the plane. And I'm thinking, like, I'm missing making all these memories with my kids and they're getting older. And I'm out here trying to, do whatever it is that I'm trying to do, but all they just want is me being there. You know what I mean? And so at that moment, I said, okay, I'm going back to Charlotte. And whatever it is that I'm supposed to do with my career, God will make a way that I can do it and still be present with my children. And, it's been a very unorthodox journey, but I see how he's honoring that by continuous to be a working artist in Charlotte is crazy. Like to be able to say like, yo, I get booked on a regular basis as a rapper in Charlotte and I'm not signed and nothing like that. Mm-hmm. Like not a lot of people can say that at all. Mm-hmm. I've been doing this for 20 years. Wow. So it's a blessing, man. And I think that all comes from having my priorities in order. So
mm-hmm. Yeah, blessings beget blessings,
Yeah.
So, Robert, how does family fit in there with you? Like I said, I talked to you, and you're bringing your granddaughter back from church, and I see the pictures on Facebook of you, with kids. So, how does that work into your life as well?
Oh man, it's very important to me because it's like I want my granddaughter to be proud of what I'm doing. The people at my church that I grew up in, I mean, it's really because that's family too, even though some of us may not be blood related. I grew up with them, and it's like they always, whenever I run into them, even some of the older men, they say, keep dancing, young man, keep dancing. So I see you out there doing it. So it's like, because I come from a small town, and it's like to be able to do something like that, and the people that's your elders can look at you and be like, they are proud of you and stuff like that. That means a lot. And even when I was at that church, I was the youth director for like 6 years. So even some of the younger guys, they even give me my props and stuff like that. So, and as long as I can do something that my daughters are proud of me and my parents are proud of me, it just makes it all much, much more better. And, as far as like Mason was talking about legacy, my thing is about leaving a legacy. That's why I video a lot of myself dancing a lot. Because with the age we're in now, we got so much technology to leave, so my grandkids can see what I was doing. We would love to be able to see what our great grandfathers was doing, but all we can do is go by hearsay, and sometimes it get lost in the shuffle. So, the reason some people think it's an arrogant thing why I record stuff, but no, I just want to make sure that years and years down the line that my family and friends can see what I was doing when I'm long gone.
Yes. And one thing I will say to both of you all, I believe that men in general and Black men especially do not get the props that they should. My mother, anyone who knows me knows that my mom passed away when I was young, and I was raised by my father, and he was the single most important person in my life. Dads let you know what you should tolerate and what you should not tolerate. They are just the example of what um, of what you should look for in a man. So I just want to give both of you a
Thank
standing
you. Thank
ovation
you so much. Thank
for,
you.
for what you're doing for your own personal families and the light that you're shining throughout the community, because you are touching people that you don't see, may never hear from. You're making a difference in people's lives. Um, and so that's kind of leads us leads me into a night of artistic renewal where we have the tagline is representation equals power. And you know it couldn't fit better into the conversation that we're having right now, because so many times all we see is negativity. I mean, I don't know.
Mm.
Last time I looked at the news, I didn't see them talking about guys like yourself out here working hard every day, making big changes in the city. Okay. So representation equals power is meant to um, let youth know not to be afraid to chase their dreams. Um, why, Robert, did you decide to be a part of a night of artistic renewal? When I asked you about doing it.
Okay. Well, first I was honored to be asked, and I'm like, wow, really? Again, the first night you meet me, you asked me that, and I was like, okay, great. Because at first I was not sure if it was for me to do. But then after thinking about it, I'm like, no, she was brought to my class for a reason. Can't block my blessing. And also, I want to represent our dance community. I do urban ballroom. There's also Chicago Stepping in Charlotte, which we're pretty much in the same community. So I just want to shine a light on that to where I can represent that part of Charlotte, because it's a group of great people and more people should get involved in it. Not even if you don't want to do urban ballroom, you can do Chicago Stepping. There's places you can learn. Um, but yeah, I just want to be part of something big, and do my little bit and try to show my creativity through dance.
Mhm.
So with this, me and my partner Tiffany Taylor, uh, we're gonna dance, but there is some theatrics in it to tell a story within the dance. We're not just dancing, like da da da, and then just stop and walk off. We want to try to provoke some emotion with it, try to get the audience captivated in what we're doing. So yeah, I
Yes,
think I've
yes.
worked out something really nice.
Yes, we don't want to let the cat out the bag, but
No.
no, 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 got to keep them waiting. But it is a really good idea, and I think that the reason why I asked you to be a part of the show was because your demeanor in the classroom, your talent, number one or number two, and I just felt like it would be uh, something nice to show to the public, as
Thank
well.
you. Thank you.
So yeah, yeah. So Mason, on your end, why, what about a night of artists? Because you're a busy guy. Like you say, you're going back and forth to LA. You got these gigs and things. What was special about a night of artistic renewal in your eyes?
Um, it was more than anything. I think it was the opportunity to bring hip hop to a space that hip hop wasn't in before. I guess, at least not in the same capacity. I don't think. Um, I'm a lover of the hip hop culture and community, and I'm an ambassador of that, and I represent that everywhere I go. And I try to shine light on the positive aspects of hip hop, um, because we definitely see enough of the negative.
Mhm.
And this was an opportunity or a platform for me to showcase that. You specifically asked me to do a particular song, and and were two particular songs, and those songs are edifying, they're educational, and also entertaining, and they're like that on purpose. You know what I mean? Um, and this is another opportunity for me to connect with people. So, of course, I'm gonna take it.
Yeah, so when I went through your portfolio, everything was so amazing.
Oh, thank
Um, but the pieces that kind of resonated with me, which we won't let the cat out of the bag on those, but the videos were just so profound to me, and they spoke to me, and I felt like, this is something. It even gives me little chills right now. I felt like this is the kind of representation that we need to put out there for the city of Charlotte to see. And I think it's going to make a big difference. Now, tell me, do you have any upcoming projects that you I want to make sure that we know about?
Me?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, Mason.
Yeah, I do actually. So I'm about to drop new music. My new EP, Canon event. It's called Canon Event. Um, if anybody knows anything about comic books or storytelling, a canon event is an event that has to happen. It's necessary for the story to proceed. So the next EP is called Canon Event. I just started a new company called Sound Sneakers and Superheroes, which will be kind of a ecosystem for all the creative things that I do and a platform for other creatives and consumers alike. We're just building a global community built on those three pillars: sound, sneakers, and superheroes. So music, sneakerhead culture, and then of course comic book culture. So we got workshops, live events, music, a festival coming up. Lot of plans, man. But I'm really excited about sound, sneakers, and superheroes. Really.
Nice. So if someone wanted to find out about your projects, where would we go? Well, I see you got it down here, but where would we go to check out your upcoming projects?
Well, of course, yeah, for everything social, right down there, I am Mason Parker 704 on Twitter, IG, all that stuff, TikTok. Um, I am masonparker.com is the hub for everything. It's where you can get the new music, you can get your comic book, you can check out the latest film work, whatever visuals I got that are dropping. But that's where you can that's the hub. That's where you can get everything in the same place. But if social is more your thing, I am Mason Parker 704 on social.
Nice. Thank you so much. Robert, what do you have coming up?
Well, ironically, on my way to get set up here, I was just invited to do a workshop in Greensboro, North Carolina, with Smooth Grooves, Val and Tyrone, two great people. They asked me just today, would I be interested in doing a workshop? And of course, I said yes, because we all about supporting each other in our community and stuff like that. And again, probably at the end of the year, I'll be going to Houston for the ISDC. It's International Swing Dance Competition. And that'll be New Year's. I've been in Houston for New Year's for the last 3 to 4 years. And it's a very good competition. It is great. It is a great thing. Also, I think September, we may be having a Titans of the Dance Floor, which sponsored by the Purple Charlotte Steppers. That's a competition also. And I'll be going there to defend my title. I finally won it back last year now. But it probably won't be easy this year. But yeah, that's what I got going on. And I just want to say publicly that I've got to thank the owner of Purple Charlotte Steppers, Damon Carter, because I couldn't be at this position at the level that I am now without his help. Just say the workshop I'm going to do, I've attended his workshops out of town and stuff like that. So it's been by his tutelage and him smoothing out my jagged edges. You know what I'm saying? That there's why I'm doing the things I'm doing today. Like I said, I want to be very humble and appreciative to the people that and also all the other instructors that I've had coming up, because my thing is about taking a little bit from everybody to where I'm an instructor that I am today.
Nice, nice. And where can we find out more about you if they want to find out about getting into one of your classes or just, more information about you in general? Where can we go?
You can go, first of all, you can go to Facebook. It's under Robert Fitzgerald. My real name is Robert Wilson. The Fitzgerald is actually my middle name.
Oh,
I think it gave it a little more class, Robert Fitzgerald. And also it's a Facebook group called Dancing with Champagne. And you can join that. And also on IG is Dancing with Champagne, one word, just straight out Dance with Champagne. And I'm on TikTok, and it's the same thing, Dancing with Champagne. So you can contact me through any of those.
Nice. Well, guys, I just want to thank you so much for coming or being available to me this evening. Also for agreeing to be a part of a Night of Artistic Renewal. Again, it takes place on April 28th at the Blumenthal Performing Art Center's Booth Playhouse. We have hip hop. We have urban ballroom dance. We have spoken word, visual artistry, saxophone, singing. You name it, we got it going on. And tickets are only $15 for adults.
That's right.
And thanks to a grant from ASC, as we spoke about them earlier, kids are actually able to come at no cost. So kids from probably the ages of 10 to 18 can come at no cost when they come with a ticketed adult. And that's because we're all about putting out positive representation for the community. So we are really hoping to see all of you all there. A Night of Artistic Renewal. Representation equals power. You can pick your tickets up by going to a nightofartisticrenewal.com or blumenthalarts.org. Thank you guys again. I can't say enough